What's going on, everybody? Doc, Average Gamer Guys, back yet again. More Escape from Tarkov and another episode of Let's Talk Tarkov. Today is a very interesting one. So we're doing this pretty close to up to date, which isn't always the case. By the time this gets processed and uploads, it'll probably be a little bit farther after. We may have some additional information. Info seems to keep rolling out here very quickly, but we're going to talk about what's going on, the current state of Tarkov as of late last night into this morning, and kind of current state. As you can tell by the screen above me, traders are gone. All you have is fence. So if you haven't logged into the game today or you haven't paid too much attention, no trader is available except for Mr. Fence. In addition to that, we just got some tweets, some screenshots, some more lore elements, some different things from Nikita. I'm going to jump into those and we're going to chat about them. But Scavs are basically stealing money from the Scav case. And what does all this mean? Where is it all going? Let's do some speculation and I'll give some thoughts on it. And let's also talk a little bit about what can you do right now if you're feeling a little depressed about your favorite traders not being in the game. So let's jump in. Let's talk Tarkov. Okay, so first things first, if you haven't been paying attention, there's been a lot of little leaks and little screenshots over the last handfuls of days and weeks leading up to a screenshot that got posted and a leak about a future kind of keypad access room in Streets that had a list date of 428, excuse me. There's a whole bunch of community stuff going on, a whole lot of rumors going on that basically that was just a note about 428 being a wipe and all that stuff. Up until today, I would say I was very much a non-believer of that. They've talked about doing the Lighthouse expansion and getting some more stuff out very quickly. And I think that's got a lot of people hyped up. If you paid attention on our last Let's Talk Tarkov, we jumped into the different Lighthouse bosses that we're going to see. We got a sneak peek there at what Lightkeeper, the new trader, in-game trader, is going to look like. So there's a lot of hype around that. This screenshot leak, if you will, came out sometime after that, and then it's been the spiral whirlwind of what's going to happen from there. This then really got jumped off yesterday when Nikita, it was either yesterday or the day before, Nikita tweeted that if he gets 30,000 likes on his post, he'll shut off, basically remove all the traders. If he gets 45,000 likes, the flea market will go away, which it is. It is currently unavailable unless you have unlocked it to level 99. So you can't do any trading with the exception of Mr. Fence here. So those of you that have max fence rep or at least above 6, hopefully you're seeing some good benefits from this. It's very interesting. By the way, these fuels are empty, so just keep that in mind. Don't buy one. I bought one earlier just to test it. I figured I would use some of my money and help you out there a little bit. So what does that mean? What's going on? So we have this, and then recently we've been getting some additional things that have posted to Twitter, and this has come in over the last couple of hours, and some of it even sooner than that, which is this. We got this screenshot of this note with some interesting symbols. A lot of this, again, is the sniper here. Some of the cult symbols really, to me, line up that they're saying something to the effect of, again, this is all related to Lightkeeper. We've got the same little picture here. It's interesting. We have another little sub note that's tucked in here with a can of Sprats or something. We got a wonderful translation. And this is what it says. It says, CH, you won't believe it. I got a new job to transfer bags of money. Bags full of money, I swear. Each of them is completely full. I don't know how many of them are transferred through the night. I've never seen this amount of money in my life. I would tell you to take Glist and let's steal at least one of the bags. Guys giving the orders are scary as F. They look at you once and feel it in your gut. You feel they flay you alive if you lost at least one bill, but it won't be me if I don't steal at least one pack. While I was carrying the bags around Tarkov area, I also saw something interesting. Some guys are carrying money from Scav cases, and the funny thing is that they're just taking the money from Scav cases and not bringing anything back. Subsequently, you go into your Scav case here. I'm going to jump back in. Let's boot up our hideout here. It'll take just a second. And your Scav case is completely changed. Completely changed. You don't have your cool options anymore. You're not doing your moonshine. You're not doing any of that. You have options to spend a whole lot of money, up to 10 million rubles. I'm going to show you what this looks like. I think this might freak the game out a little bit, but let's just use the 25,000 scav case here. We're going to start it. It then gives you this collecting thing, and then it gives you this, but you can't do anything with this, okay? This basically is there's probably some kind of message or something that's supposed to pop up. You just don't get it, right? It's not going to happen. Even if we close out, load back in, we still get this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit the game. We'll reload here, and we'll jump back in. While all that is happening, basically what we know is going to happen from this perspective is this. They've changed the interface where Scavs would normally have brought you something to now Scavs took the money. So they're stealing from you, which is, again, exactly what is related to and what we saw in that post and in that translation, tweet, whatever you want to call it, in that little bit of lore that we got. So we'll show here as soon as we get loaded back in that we're going to get nothing for that. Our money's just going to be gone. And it's interesting. So my perspective on this now is it's all purely about a money sink, right? So obviously you can be upset. We'll talk about what not having the traders means for you. But essentially what this right now is a money and a gear sink. No matter how good you are at the game, no matter what your thoughts on this, no matter what level you are, at a bare minimum, this is a money and a gear sink. With the way that this game is, depending on how you play it, there's some options to get around this, but for the most part, this is just going to be intended for you to lose gear and spend, maybe not spend money, but just lose gear in general. So again, let's load back up into the hideout here, and we'll jump in to show you that I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing. It's going to have reset to just like I could purchase it again, or I could spend the money. Yep, nothing happened. It's gone, and we don't have anything. We didn't get anything. Nothing's in our inventory. We can't do anything else here, and our money's just gone. So all those being said, this is a money sink, and this is where I think that this is going. Let me alt tab out, and let me show one other thing. So then we got this. This was just not very long ago, 13 minutes ago as of recording of this. There's some users logged in. This guy says sitrep 4 status. Default user says never mind that. Look in cash. Seems like I'm gonna say this is Lightkeeper, extorting money from them, from everybody actually knowing him. He can do that. He will get what he wants, and it will de-escalate for sure. So what I think this is a power play right now in the lore verse of Lightkeeper versus the other traders. It's interesting because him being an in-game trader, it's going to be a different situation, UI, how he's going to get things, how much you're going to interact with him. We saw the whole thing previous to all this stuff that we just talked about. We also saw that there were a whole bunch of electronics that weren't being available, and subsequently those electronics then turned into trades, barter trades at level 1 for all of the traders. So this whole thing has had to do with Lightkeeper and what's going on with him. So I think it's all a money sink. I think it's a money and a gear sink. And here's what I've said. I do not at this point I don't believe in 428 there's going to be a wipe. I don't think so. I don't think they're not gonna do that to us. I don't think they've set this up to be able to do that. And the reason I say that is because I don't think the time frame has been long enough, right? We could all be wrong. All of us that are not in the ballpark of saying that there will be a wipe could be totally wrong. It just doesn't feel like an appropriate time for one. And it also feels like that might make then the next wipe, if they do wipe tomorrow or in the next few days, the next wipe might be very, very far away, because I don't think we're getting streets anywhere close until maybe the very end or the very beginning of next year. And you might complain now about a 4.5-ish or so month wipe, which is about where we're at. Imagine a 7 to 8-ish month wipe. A lot of people are not going to be happy with that. So I don't think we're getting a wipe. The problem with introducing Lightkeeper, the bosses, and the expansion to Lighthouse right now is, and why I think it lines up to saying there would be a wipe if they're going to do that, is they don't want people that are super geared. They don't want you to be a level 42 with access to all the traders and good ammo and gear to be able to go in and start farming these new bosses. They want you to struggle. They want it to be hard. They want it to take some skill and some time to figure out strategy. With those things being said, I think it's an interesting take that this whole thing has been planned. And I think I can show, I think I'll find the tweet from Nikita here that said, relax, it was planned from the start, more to come, love ya, right? So this just happened. This just happened. But I think it's all a money sink in order to get us into a position so that we spend some gear, we don't have as much stuff available to us, we don't have access to traders, we're low on meds, and they can then introduce this expansion without a ton of people pushing forward and being able to figure it out, or to a certain extent even maybe having a lot of access to the things that Lightkeeper is going to be known for. We've known already that he's known for now electronics. We've deciphered that. I think the whole level 1 barter trade system, it wasn't intended for early level players, because they don't usually typically have access to a lot of that stuff unless they've run a lot of Lighthouse. What instead I think it was intended to do was, if you had not found in raid stuff and you're like, I'm not going to use this anyways, let's just trade it for some good armor, some good gear, and get rid of it and not have it in our stash anymore. That, I think, is what Lightkeeper is going to use in the majority of his barters, and it's now going to make it fresh and interesting for folks. And some stuff with the flea market and what they did and the prices skyrocketing and things getting bought up, that was all intentional to try to drive that, to make what we're about to hopefully have, which is the Lighthouse expansion, a lot more interesting, and take a little bit more time to unlock what I would call the secrets, quote unquote secrets, of this hopefully expansion. In addition, I think Nikita is hoping that, again, we're sinking some money, we're spending some money, we are getting rid of some good gear that we've got stockpiled or holding on to. If you're at that position in the wipe, and not everybody is, because if you're not at that position in the wipe, none of this matters to you. It matters to you now because you don't have access to some things, but it's not going to matter because you're not going to be the player that's going to want to jump right in and try to go kill the new bosses on Lighthouse and loot them. If you've been holding on to a slick and a really good meta mutant that maybe you don't have access to up until this point, you're certainly not using it in the next 5 days. So if you want to take that really good gear in and take a chance and go fight these guys, if it ends up being an expansion, this whole event does nothing for you. What this event does do is the one thing that players have constantly talked about, and people in the community have raged about, streamers and everybody else that plays this game more than them, is you get to a point where you have a lot of money. I have 23 million rubles. I don't need 23 million rubles. No one, I think, needs 23 million rubles. I could play very comfortably from now until the end of the wipe, whenever it is, 2 months from now, and not have any concern about money. What this will end up doing, though, is you can see I've got 3 weapons cases. I like to have weapons ready and available. If I die in a raid, put some stuff on really quick, jump back in. I hate time in between raids, setting up gear, doing that. Same thing. Got these weapons set up. I'm going to do some different videos here, but I've got some weapons set up I'm going to use for some cool other videos that I want to try. I've got helmets, I've got ears, I've got armor. I'm ready to go to jump into the next raid at a very quick moment's notice. That's why I hang on to it, and I think that's why a lot of people stockpile gear. Got some mutants, I've got some P90s, I want to do some fun stuff. I've got a handful of other things, some MK18s because I can't buy them quite yet, and I've got meds and ammo, and I'm ready to go. I'm pretty well stockpiled. But I think this event is entirely intended to reduce those people's stockpiles of this stuff, and they're good players, so it may not impact them a ton, but a handful of deaths and the inability to replenish some of that is going to be fun and is going to impact them. And I think it's all intended to try to dry up some of the loot and some of the cash in the economy right now, to make the Secrets of Lighthouse more fun if they end up releasing the expansion. At this point, I do feel very comfortable the expansion is coming. That will be the prediction I make. And I think the lore and the other things that we've seen up until this point, and this whole 5 days without traders and the flea market, I think is going to push us into a spot where it's like, well, Lightkeeper is now going to open up The expansion's going to come. He's going to open up as becoming available. And the other traders are going to come back out and try to compete for business and maybe make some of their stuff really super cheap so that you're spending it with them instead of taking it to the in-game trader. This is all just me speculating, but I think that's where we're about to go. I think that's what's about to happen. And that will make it really cool because hopefully not within the first like 2 hours of these guys being released and the trader and the bosses and everything to like everybody figure out everything and then know how to beat them, and then it's no fun for everybody. And if you don't pay attention to like streamers or content, or you know, you want to go figure it out for yourself, which is what I'm going to do, then it will still be fun for you. But obviously there are going to be people that as soon as it comes out, they're going to be asking, well, how do we do this? How do we beat these guys? What loot do they have? Go experience and explore it for yourself. At the end of the day, I believe that's what Nikita wants. I think that's what Battlestate Game wants whenever they release something new. We've seen that with Lighthouse. We've seen that with a whole bunch of other stuff. They'll give you some tidbits. They'll give you a little bit of information to go on. And then everything after that is go explore and enjoy it and find out for yourself. And I think that is what this event is saying. And I think it's going to finish with Lighthouse expansion, which would be awesome. The hype around that is so huge. I think that would be really cool. So hopefully you see my train of thought. We'll see what the rest of the lore comes. If you're interested, we do have a Twitter. I retweet everything that Nikita or BSG puts out. So if you want to kind of follow along with the things as they're going on, I'm going to stay pretty well in tune to that and try to deliver you some up-to-date news. But I wanted to record this and chat about it. The second side of this that I want to talk about is now that the traders are gone and you can't buy anything from them, and if you are at a lower level or you don't have a big stockpile of stuff, how do you play this game? Like, what do you do? Like, I've seen so much, like the community right now, and it's not the community. Loud voices in the community and people that are upset about the game and this event, because that's what this is. It's an event. Upset right now are saying, well, I'm just not going to play for 5 days. I don't want to play. They're like, who's going to play for, I can't buy anything. I'm not going to play. Okay. You could certainly react that way. I understand to a certain extent people that would react that way. If you only have an hour or two to play, the last thing you want to do is go in, run 3 raids, get killed in each one of them, and then you have nothing, right? That sucks. I understand that. There's also a smaller subset of the community saying, hey, this is actually pretty interesting. Especially really OG long-term players are saying, this is now what this game was like before traders and before the flea market, or when traders didn't have much of anything. There used to be very few, right? And they used to only sell a very select number of things. It's now going to be exciting getting into a raid. Think about this. It's going to be exciting to get into a raid, to kill a guy and find that he has food and meds and ammo on him. Because right now, if you're a high enough level, that stuff doesn't matter to you. You might take the ammo, you might take a few of the meds just to top up. And other than that, you're like, oh man, he only had a class 4 armor and his gun wasn't meta. I know that's not everybody. I'm obviously being a little facetious here, but what I think you're gonna come to find, I would tell you, if it's me and what I'm gonna do, play the game. Play it like it's hardcore, which is essentially what this is right now. No traders except for fence. So you gotta find, you gotta scrap, you gotta be resourceful for everything. You have to play these maps differently. Things like med containers and tech containers and weapon attachments. The spots where weapon attachments are going to become much more popular for people to loot than maybe high tier loot items at this point, because it doesn't make sense to do anything with fence. You can sell some stuff to fence, more than happy to do that, and if you do, great for you. You could probably buy some stuff in here. Your hideout still works the same, so if you want to craft anything, you know, like having these helixes are actually pretty important. I would tell you don't sell any gunpowders. I would tell you to hang on to some of your tools so that you can use some of your workbench stuff. But I would tell you right now, go play the game. You're gonna play it a little bit different. You may play it a little bit more tactically. You may just all out continue to W key if that's how you want to play it, great. But what I think you're going to come to find is as you dive into this a little bit and your gear gets a little bit more scarce, you're going to have a little bit different emotions bubbling up that maybe you haven't had in a while if you've played this game for a while. Now, if that doesn't interest you at all and you're like, no, I just like having my meta gear, I've grinded to get what I get, and I don't want it to be like this, then I guess you get 5 days to not play the game and go enjoy something else. I would strongly tell you to not do that though. I would tell you, go grind it out, go play some, run your Scav, take your Scav loadout, and then load in on your PMC with that and see what you turn it into. The first time that you shotgun somebody with 7 mil buck in the face that's running some gear like this, and this isn't even super great, but has a Karund and a nice SR-25 and some M62 on him, and you get that and you get to pull that out, and I've got some grenades and some heals, and maybe I looted some food and some other good tech items, you're going to be ecstatic, and it's going to be a totally different feeling. I can say this with confidence because, again, I've run a hardcore series. If you're interested in that, maybe you're just popping in this video, we have a hardcore series. We have a solo standard playthrough account that's intended to kind of help you walk through the game a little bit and show you how I would get quest progress done and hideout upgrades. But I can tell you from playing hardcore now into my 3rd season of it, there is a different level of excitement for finding something that you need. Let's say you go into an interchange run and you really need, I don't know, whatever, a pipe wrench to finish something in your hideout, whether that be an upgrade or maybe now it's something that you want to complete, like maybe making some type of ammo or something from your workbench, right? Good example, maybe I want to find green and blue gunpowder so that I can make some BP because I've got some mutants, but I don't have any good ammo to run and I can't buy it. Getting into a raid and finding this has a totally different meaning now, that you can't just simply left click, go to the flea market and buy it. And if you haven't experienced that or haven't felt that in a while, or maybe you've never felt that, I'm sure if you're new, you've probably feel that every raid. You're like, oh my God, I got out and I got something. You're going to get back closer to that feeling. It's a couple of days, sacrifice some gear, go have some fun, and just give it a try. I think a lot of players, if they keep an open mind to this, are really going to enjoy this aspect of it. Now, I would also tell you, be smart. If you are sitting in a comfortable position and you have some gear to lose some gear, run your Scav. I think that's going to be a great way to find a whole bunch of this stuff. Continue to populate a little bit of money if you want to try to stack up on that, since you can't spend any of it. It's another good thing. Can teach some players how to actually make some money in this game. In addition to that, I would tell you that be smart though, and if you have some gear stacked up, and keep a couple of kits aside if you can, and get ready for what I fully expect and anticipate being Lighthouse expansion, bosses, trader. And I think you're going to want a couple of good kits to start out here at the beginning to jump into and to use to be able to go run some Lighthouse raids and have some fun. I would expect over the next couple of days we'll probably get some more events. Some other stuff is going to continue to change. I really do think we finish with this. Like I said, Lighthouse expansion, new bosses, trader. And I think it's going to be, if you're interested in what I think you should stock up on, high tier electronics. If you have the means to get into labs, I don't know about that. Go Lighthouse, maybe run some interchange, see if you can pick some of that stuff up. Maybe go hunt some Scav bosses. That's a great way to pick up some really solid gear. That's definitely easy to take down some players. I think you're going to continue to see a lot of class 4 armors and stuff out there. And I think you're going to start to see a whole lot of even lesser geared players. And we're going to get back to kind of like a early wipe type meta for at least a couple of days. I think it's going to be very interesting. So I finish up by saying, keep an open mind, try to enjoy it, realize it's not forever, and I think the back end of this is going to be really fun. I would also say, and I'm going to try to make sure that I don't put myself in this category, don't be disappointed if it ends with nothing. If it ends with just the game going back to normal, things kind of resetting, it was still a good money sink, and I think this is a great experiment for how to stage and tier this out. They've also talked about in the previous podcasts about traders at some point might just become inaccessible, whether that be through quest line progression or at some point, you know, again, they can do other things event related that traders go away. Just remember, this is another test. This is another test for features that they want to see how is going to impact the game in the short and longer run that they may implement in the future. This is all good. This is all good for the game, in my opinion, in the long run. And I think it helps for them when we talk about getting close to release 1.0 and what the game is going to look like after that point. So keep an open mind, enjoy this. More news to come. Hopefully my predictions aren't too crazy, but I think Lighthouse expansion is a lot closer than we give it credit for. They are counting the amount of rubles they are yoinking from the Scav case. This is amazing. This is amazing. It just keeps getting better. This is definitely all planned, right? So this is all planned. Logical Solutions coming in big. This is really cool, guys. I hope you're excited about this, and I hope you don't overreact and say some silly things or get too emotional about the fact that traders and stuff are gone. And I know it's easy to. I know I'm picking on some folks here probably, and I might get some shade in the comments for this, but I think this is gonna be cool. Hang with this, keep playing, go run your scav, go learn how to make some gear, and enjoy a early-ish wipe experience again, 4 and some odd months into the wipe, and we'll see you hopefully playing the Lighthouse expansion here very soon. I'll close this one out. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for all the support on the channel. Trying to get to 10K subscribers by the end of the year, so that's the best way to support the channel. You saw probably just pop up. We've got a whole bunch of links for everything. We got a Twitter, we got a Discord, we got a Twitch. We're starting up a TikTok as well. We're going to start putting some content over there. So if you want to give us some follows on all that stuff, we appreciate it. Please follow our Twitter if you're not interested in following or follow us in addition to Nikita and Battle State Games. We're definitely going to be retweeting and posting all this stuff as it comes up, and trying to keep you up to date with the news. Discord is going to be another good place. If anything pops off crazy there, I'll be throwing some stuff in there. We'd love for you to join some of our socials, and we should be streaming some point throughout this week, maybe even the evening that this goes up, or the next day, and probably this weekend. So give us some follows, and we'd love to have you as part of our community. And yeah, just appreciate it. Close out. I've been Doc, Average Gamer, guys. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next Let's Talk Tarkov video. Peace.